Help me, Mama.
Hi everybody, this is Emily with Help Me Mama. Today we're going to be going over some tips for you and your baby when you're in the car going on some car trips. I would say these tips can be used for, even your regular day-to-day 15-minute car trips, but especially on the long trips. Hopefully this will be helpful to you guys. I know that when you have a newborn baby, especially, it can be so scary when it's your first baby in the car, and even with my second and third when they're first born, you look back, you worry, you want to have a hand on them all the time. And so here's a couple of pointers just to get you out of the house. You need to visit your family, you need to go places. Here's how you can make it a little bit easier on yourself. So you have two problems with babies in the car. Number one is worry. You're just worried about them. And I have two solutions for this. One is a mirror, those little mirrors that you can put, you put them on the back seat headrest, and you tip it forwards so you can see your baby. Mine sometimes comes a little askew, so you always want to check it to make sure that it's in place so that you can see your baby in your rear view mirror, and that will give you a lot of peace of mind. Because the thing I always worry about is their head rolling forward, especially when they're really little. So the mirror will give you peace of mind, and then if you do need to help adjust your baby's head, then you'll know that you need to pull over or give a little head tilt, or have somebody sitting in the back seat do that. The second one is that I know that a lot of moms, including myself, we've had these startling moments where you look at your baby and you're like, they're so still. They look like you don't even want to say it, right? When you're in the car especially, but say your baby's sleeping and you want to wake them up because you want to know that they're alive, especially in the car, but at any time, if you can reach back and feel your baby's soft spot, it's kind of creepy, but there is a pulse that you can feel on their head, and it's gives you the willies. It gave me the willies the first time I felt it. But when you're driving, if you can reach back, especially if your baby's in the middle seat behind you, and touch their soft spot, you will be able to know that they're alive. Okay? And it's kind of funny to think about the silly things that we do to make sure that they're alive, but they're so precious, you just have to do it. So that's two things that you can do for the worry about car trips. Have a mirror, and then you can feel their soft spot, of course. And then number two is the crying. I know that the first time our oldest cried and cried and cried in the car. We were driving back from a couple cities down from us. It was half hour to get home, and he cried 35 minutes straight in the car. He was probably, how old would you say he was? 3 months old?
Yeah.
And it was heartbreaking, and I did every trick in the book, and he just cried, and it broke my heart. But after that, I realized we got home and he was fine. I changed his diaper, I fed him, he was fine. So even though he had a terrible ride, it was not detrimental to him in any way. So keep that in mind. Babies are going to cry. The thing I also suggest is that you want to feed them and change them right before you leave. So, if you think they're going to fall asleep in your arms feeding them, I would try not to let them fall asleep in your arms, because you want them to fall asleep in the car. So I would feed them and change them right before, so that it's also for peace of mind. You know that they're fed. You know that they have a clean diaper, and unless something happened, right as you got in the car, you know that they're going to be clean and happy and fed. So that's just for peace of mind. So even if they're crying, you can say to yourself, look, little baby, you have just been fed. You have just been changed. There is nothing wrong with you. You can go to sleep. And that's for your peace of mind. Number two is that you want to plan your trip according to when your baby is usually sleeping. So when you're a first-time mom and the schedules are always, up and down changing, just before your trip, try to, if your baby's not on a set schedule yet, or if it's fluctuating, you want to just keep in mind, a couple days before the trip, what time is the baby sleeping for the longest? When is the baby's longest nap of the day? And depending on how long the trip is, that's when you want to do your trip. So a lot of times, my kids, they usually sleep their bigger nap in the afternoon. So when we go on a big long trip, we either try to do it, either leave really early, like 4 o'clock in the morning, so they have like a 4 to 7 or 4 to 8 sleeping period, or we'll like leave at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so they have a 1 to 4 long nap in the afternoon. Just examples. The last one is diversions. If you have a little baby, one of the greatest things that I have found for my kids in the car to try to distract them is keys. You just kind of dangle keys above them, or if you have some baby toys, but I don't know, something about keys, the shininess just like is amazing. So if you have an extra pair of keys, you can just kind of dangle it in front of them. But I personally suggest, more than anything, don't say anything. Don't dangle anything. Just let them fall asleep. If you know that they're tired, you talking to them, or even like if your husband's driving, you getting in the back seat and looking at them and playing with them, it's going to keep them up longer and make them more cranky. So if you know that they're fed, you know that they're changed, you know that it's sleepy time, let them cry for a half hour in the car and they will probably fall asleep. If you haven't watched my sleep training video, this would be a good time to watch that one too, because it does, especially if it's the first time, it does take them a long time to fall asleep and learn that, like, okay, I have to help myself go to sleep in the car right now. So you can watch that video too, because it kind of applies to the car as well. So anyways, this is car trips with kids, especially babies. This is more for infants. There are other things that you can do for car trips with kids. I had another video kind of about that. I think I did. Well, you'll find out, won't you? So these are problems and solutions for car trips with infants. I hope this is helpful to you. And I know, if you're feeling stuck in your house, like, you can do it. I think the first time you're out with the baby in the car is when they're crying and crying. That's the hardest one. It gets easier because you pick, you get your own tips. You pick up things from there. This is Emily with Help Me Mama. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe, and always pass it on to a friend.
Help me, Mama!